Morning guys, James here, welcome to Dusseldorf. Today we're going to have a look around something a little different. Now in my tours you'll often hear me referring to the various options of tenders on the back or in the garages of our yachts. And today we're going to look around the bespoke company we work very closely with, who are Williams Jet Tenders. Now these guys, as with all hugely successful startup companies, two guys in a garage, have taken it up to what we see today, which is basically the absolute Rolls Royce of the jet tender world. So these guys offer a range from around 2.8 meters up to just over 6 meters. We're going to have a look around the models this morning just to cover off where they typically fit in our range, and a quick overview guide, pricing and what have you, so you can get an understanding of what goes where. So we'll start off here. This is the baby of the range, the 280 mini jet. Goes in the garage of a Superhawk 55. And just showing you around here a couple of little stats. So she's around £20,000 guide price. Very compact installation, very low level, 3 seats in the boat, 28 litres of fuel, and she does about 40 miles an hour from her 60 horsepower Rotax engine. Now they're obviously very practical in how they work, so you've got things like lift up access hatch here for servicing. They have a valve system you can turn off if you're towing the tender at all, but it's the lightest boat in their range, weighing in at 210 kilos dry weight. 28 litres of fuel on board, so you've got plenty of range for running in and out of the beach, and with the top speed getting on for around 40 miles an hour, it definitely can tow wakeboarders and what have you. So then we move up to the 285. This is the turbojet entry level model in the turbojet series, a little bit more volume on the boat, and these go into things like the platform of a Manhattan 55, garage of even something like a Predator 60 Evo. We can fit slightly larger in there, but quite common to see these in the boats. So we gain a little bit more bow seating in here. You can see you get an extra person in the front of this one. So she starts around £28,000 on the water. Just showing some different colours as well. So this is grey tubes, and they do some further upgrades then for carbon tubes if you wish. 40 litres of fuel, around 46 miles an hour flat out. Obviously being jet engine, these are all very safe to swim around. Fairly straightforward controls. You've got the gear lever there that does throttle as well. They have loads and loads of options. You can get really carried away on these. Removable steering wheel, LED deck lighting, underwater lighting, stereos, VHF radios, all the usual kit you'd see on larger boats. So we're weighing in about 294 kilos on one of these, so obviously a fairly big increase over the 280. We are trying to squeeze these into the garage of the new Predator 55 if possible, and then we move up to the big sister. So this is the 325, probably the most popular boat in the range for us. If I'm honest, we're moving up in price to around £30,000 starting price on the water. This one's got the carbon tube upgrade. You can see the white and the black there, and also those teak or synthetic teak inlaid steps. Really nice colour configuration on this. They can emboss the name onto the seats and what have you. You've got things like the ski eye on the back. Again, usable for towing water toys. We do about 48 miles an hour on these. They're quite quick. I think power to weight is one of the fastest boats in the range. 90 horsepower Rotax engine, and she's about 319 kilos dry weight. They're really important with the Williams. You need to keep the engines flushed. They are often kept in the garage, not used for months on end, and if you're ever going to suffer from reliability problems, it's generally steering and throttle issues for things seizing up where owners simply haven't taken good care of them. So really important to get into the habit of treating it with due care, and you'll get a lot of fun out of it every time you want to put it in the water. So we'll just skip across some big boats. We'll come back to those in a minute, because over this side we move up then to the sport jets. So this was a newly launched product for them a couple of years back. Slightly different seating configuration. We can squeeze 5 people into these. Got the seat then next to the helm, as you can see here, and this really cool back-to-back seat on the aft end keeps the passengers drier as you're running in, perhaps in the evenings, got dressed up for dinner and what have you. Works really nicely. Quite a big step up in price. These are starting around £35,000. I'm quoting ex-VAT on all of these just for reference, and you can see then these really cool grey carbon tubes with that black rubbing stroke. Obviously, being a tender with inflatable tubes, very safe to bring up and tie up alongside the mothership. They can put lifting points in for boats where they perhaps are up on flybridges with cranes, but typically with the Sunseekers you'll see them on the platforms and in the garage. 345 will fit in a Manhattan 55 on the platform, Predator 65 and the 65 Sport Yacht. This is a sort of recommended model in the range. 46 miles an hour and 340 kilo dry weight. We then move across here to the 395. So this is the next model up, 68 Manhattan, 76 Yacht and the Predator and Sport Yacht 75. This is the suggested boat. It will fit in the garage of those larger Predator models, and this one finished in those really clinical white tubes, a little bit more super yacht tender-esque, 90 horsepower engine, and we're around £38,000 starting price. You can, as I mentioned earlier, get very carried away with the options list and do an easy another 25% if you want to pick all of the toys. 50 litres of fuel, 46 miles an hour, so still plenty of capability for towing the toys. You can see on this one the ski eye, and then they have this optional sideboarding post there with the step, which does make life a little easier for getting on from the back of your mothership, and it's a little bit rocky out there. 370 kilos, so obviously a fair increase over the smaller boat. Then we come up to the 435 Sport Jet. Now this one is just offering a little bit more seating up in the nose, finished in this really cool red colour, and you can see rather than the stainless steel rails, we've got a satin finish on the handrails. Say really extensive options list from Williams, very nicely engineered with things like the pop-up deck cleats. It's a practical boat, but it is also really nicely finished. These are starting around £41,000. We've gained that extra person now, so 7 people on board, and it varies between 50 and 60 litre fuel tank, as you can do 2 engines in these. Standard is the 90 horsepower, and then they do 130 horsepower as an option. It does vary then the weight between 435, 480 kilos. Typically these would be on the platform of something like a 90 Ocean, 88 Yacht, what have you, although we can squeeze a little bit bigger. So moving across here, we don't have all of the range on here. We're going to miss out the 460. This is the 520. It's the largest model in the Sport Jet range. These will fit on the platform the 88, the 95, and it just gives you, as you can see here, more of a sort of mini coastal rib feel. So we've got a lot more depth now into the cockpit here. You can see some nice little detailing on the seats, proper windscreen. You can really imagine yourself taking these off, exploring up and down the coast away from the mothership. So we're carrying 100 litres of fuel, 52 miles an hour, quick boat, 230 horsepower Rotax engine, and she's weighing in about 600 kilos dry weight. Look at the engineering on the throttle here, really nicely done. We've got some Raymarine Axiom chart plotter and what have you on the dash. And this is an impression type fabric on the tubes here, so rather than the carbon, again another finish just depending on the sort of look you want to achieve. Now for the larger yachts, you then have the option to move into the diesel range. So for boats that struggle with carrying petrol in the garage, which is something on the larger yachts we often have issues with, we can move into the diesel tenders. So these are obviously a lot heavier. They start with a 415 diesel jet, which we don't have on display here, but we do have the larger siblings here. This is the 565, one of the larger boats in the range. It fits something like a 131 yacht, and we're really moving into the super yacht chase boat range here now, so lots of seating, 9 people on board one of these, and you can see the drop-in handle there for side boarding, back-to-back seating. Not so much the owner-operator style now, we're into very much a crude boat, running shuttle service backwards and forwards from a bay, restaurant for lunch and what have you. These start just under £100,000. They're still getting on 44 miles an hour on one of these, so again used for water sports. You've got that removable ski eye on the back, stepping up another level, and as you see, finished in this really clinical white Hypalon tube. Coming across here, this is the 505, again a diesel jet boat, heavy piece of kit, so we're about 880 kilos, so there is limited option in our range of what this would fit on, but something like 100 yacht would be a good option. Again, black carbon tubes and a Silvertex style upholstery there on the seating with the synthetic decking. As you can see, stereo pack, fixed station Ray Marine VHF over there, as well as the little Axiom display giving you some basic nav, and then there is an optional bimini top, as you can see here. So we buy a whole host of these every year for stock. Obviously a big lead time on everything these days, so it's important to have boats available for our customers when we supply a new boat from stock. So if you want to discuss tender options, we do have boats typically in white, grey and fairly standard finishes, but we can of course forward order for those with a little bit more time, not rushed through pre-season. We can do an open spec and then you can build absolutely whatever you like. Williams have a really cool website with a configurator program where there's a chance to choose your own colours. You can see how that changes the boat's look, and then send it through to us on the configurator, and we can spec that up, give you a price and work out availability. Great to bring you the full sort of range here on display. It's never a chance really to do this all in one place and walk them through just to see where the changes are. If you'd like to know more about them, we can supply these directly, so please do get in touch. It's james@sunseekersouthampton.com, or mobiles +44 7747 686 587. Hope you've enjoyed looking around with us. Lots to see more around the show here. Check back soon for a little bit more.